Rome, a city born out of modesty, quickly transformed into one of the most influential empires in history. Through a combination of military prowess, strategic alliances, and an exceptional system of governance, the city was able to expand its territory impressively, conquering and incorporating various cultures and peoples under its rule. In this video, we will dive deep into the secrets that made the Roman legions the most powerful war machine of antiquity. But before we start this incredible story, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you also love Roman culture. Now that you're subscribed, let's get into the video. The narrative of Rome is extremely rich and complex, where military glory merges with political drama, and where the rise of the Roman legions becomes a reflection not only of military power, but also of the identity of a people who valued loyalty, courage, and sacrifice. These legions became the backbone of Roman military power. Their roots lie in the military structure of the Roman Republic, which sought a more organized and efficient force than the old National Guard, made up of ordinary citizens. Initially, Rome's defense was guaranteed by militias formed by volunteers and peasants, but as external threats increased and Rome's expansionist ambitions grew, the need for a more cohesive and disciplined military force became evident. Thus, the legions began to consolidate as permanent units, made up of professional soldiers who dedicated their lives to military service and the protection of the state. The Roman military structure evolved remarkably over time. The century, a basic unit composed of about 100 soldiers, served as the core of the legions. The centuries were grouped into cohorts, allowing greater flexibility and adaptability in battle. This organization into smaller units facilitated the maneuvering of troops and the implementation of innovative tactics, enabling the Romans to adapt to various combat scenarios. The legions, which generally consisted of 4,500 to 6,000 men, were a combination of several centuries and cohorts, creating a formidable force capable of facing enemies from different backgrounds and fighting styles. The hierarchy within the legions was an essential feature of their effectiveness. At the top of the command chain were the generals, who oversaw large-scale operations, but leadership on the battlefield depended largely on the centurions. These officers, chosen based on merit and skill, were directly responsible for discipline and strategy during battles. A centurion not only led his men but also acted as an example of courage and determination, ensuring that the cohesion and morale of the unit remained high. The training of the legionaries was rigorous, emphasizing physical and tactical preparation, and the centurions played a vital role in this process, forging a sense of brotherhood and loyalty among the soldiers. This organized and hierarchical structure not only enabled the Roman legions to become the most powerful military force of antiquity, but also fostered a strong sense of identity and camaraderie among the legionaries. Loyalty to their commanders and mutual trust among the soldiers were fundamental to success in combat, allowing the Romans to conquer and maintain vast territories. The Roman legions, thus, became a symbol of Rome's determination and power, shaping not only the battlefield, but also the very history of the empire. However, this strength was not sustained solely by strategic and tactical ability. It also depended on the men who filled its ranks, citizens who, for various reasons, decided to enlist and face the harsh reality of military life. Enlistment in the Roman legions, from its beginnings, reflected both civic duty and the pragmatic needs of the empire. During the Republic, the process was largely voluntary, with Roman citizens responding to the call to defend their city or expand its borders. However, as Rome grew and became involved in more frequent and prolonged wars, enlistment ceased to be purely voluntary, especially in times of crisis. In such situations, men of various ages and social classes were conscripted, regardless of their willingness to serve. This practice highlighted the deeply civic nature of Roman military service, where the defense of the homeland was considered a collective responsibility. Although service in the legions was often glorified, the reality of enlistment and the life of a legionary was far from easy. Many young men enlisted not only out of patriotism but also out of necessity. For the lower strata of Roman society, the army offered a chance to escape poverty or a life without prospects. A legionary's salary, although modest, provided sustenance, and the spoils of war, when obtained, could bring significant improvement to these men's lives. However, the conditions were often harsh. Long military campaigns required physical and mental endurance. Endless marches, extreme weather conditions, and the constant threat of death or injury were a daily reality. Additionally, discipline in the legions was severe. Minor offenses could result in harsh punishments, while desertion or insubordination was often punished by death. Despite these hardships, military service offered opportunities that attracted many men. For many, the legion represented a chance to improve their social position. Roman families took pride when their sons or relatives joined the ranks of the legions. The prestige associated with military service was significant, and, over time, battlefield achievements could open doors to social advancement. Soldiers who demonstrated skill and loyalty could be promoted to higher ranks, such as centurions, or even earn land and rewards at the end of their careers. In some cases, ordinary citizens who served with distinction in the legions could even reach positions of power and influence in Roman politics. This dynamic between the harsh reality of military service and potential rewards made enlistment in the legions a mix of fear and expectation. However, the life of a Roman legionary was not limited to the battles they fought. It was defined by a routine of exhausting training designed to shape ordinary men into relentless soldiers. Once recruits were accepted into the legions, they faced an intense physical training regime that prepared them for long marches, carrying heavy armor and equipment over distances that could exceed dozens of kilometers in a single day. This physical preparation was not a luxury but a necessity, as legionaries needed to be ready to withstand the harsh conditions of military campaigns, from the scorching heat of the desert to the mountainous and icy terrain of the frontiers. In addition to physical conditioning, recruits underwent battle simulations, where they were trained in formation, learning to march and fight in unison like a well-tuned machine. The focus on discipline was the foundation of this training. Each legionary knew that their survival and that of their comrades depended on their ability to act as a cohesive unit, where obedience to orders and coordination on the battlefield were paramount. The repetitive training, although exhausting and often demotivating, was essential to instill in the soldiers the instinct to follow commands without hesitation, regardless of the circumstances. Legionaries were trained to hold their position and fight as a unit, even under the most adverse conditions, which allowed the Roman army to maintain a decisive advantage over enemies who often lacked this cohesion and discipline. Trust in their comrades and in the Roman military system made each soldier understand their role on the battlefield, knowing that together they were unbeatable. The seriousness with which discipline was treated in the Roman army was reflected in the severe punishments imposed on those who failed to maintain the required standards. Disobedience, cowardice, and indiscipline were not tolerated, and punishments could range from salary reduction to brutal physical punishment. In more extreme cases, such as desertion or serious insubordination, the death penalty could be imposed, not just for the offending soldier but, in critical situations, even for entire groups of soldiers through the practice of decimatio, where 1 in every 10 men of a unit was executed as a way of punishing the whole cohort. These punishments not only maintained order but served as a constant reminder that survival depended on collective discipline. On the battlefield, this rigid discipline gave the legions an immense advantage, for while enemies often disorganized in the chaos of battle, the Romans remained firm, moving and attacking as a united and disciplined force. The effectiveness of the Roman legions did not depend solely on rigorous training and implacable discipline. The legionaries' equipment also played a crucial role in maintaining Roman military superiority. Each soldier was armed and protected with a specific set of items carefully designed to maximize both defense and attack power. The Lyricus segmentata, an armor made of overlapping iron plates, was the legionary's primary defense, offering protection without overly compromising mobility. This sturdy armor, combined with the large rectangular shield known as the scutum, formed an almost impenetrable barrier, especially when soldiers fought side by side in tight formation. The scutum, with its curved surface and central reinforcement, not only protected the legionaries from direct attacks, but was also an effective weapon for pushing enemies and breaking their formations. In attack, legionaries relied on two essential weapons: the pilum and the gladius. The pilum was a throwable spear designed to penetrate enemy shields and make it difficult to remove due to its thin iron tip, which bent upon impact. This ingenious design allowed the Romans to disarm their opponents before engaging in close combat. The gladius, a short and sharp sword, was the weapon of choice for close-quarters combat. With its short and strong blade, the gladius was perfect for precise and deadly thrusts in tight fights, making the legionaries extremely effective in the most intense phases of battle. In addition to using this equipment in combat, each legionary was responsible for keeping it in impeccable condition. Maintaining their gear was seen as a matter of life or death, and any negligence was severely punished. Each man took care of his armor, sharpened his sword, and kept his shield in good condition, ensuring he was always ready to face the enemy. This individual responsibility, reinforced by the legion's rigid discipline, contributed to the constant readiness of the Roman army. It reflected how the Romans treated war with the seriousness of a craft, where every detail, no matter how small, could mean the difference between life and death. The load a legionary carried during campaigns was significant, with the weight ranging between 30 and 40 kilograms. This burden included not only their weapons and armor, but also essential supplies for surviving long marches and campaigns. Tools, rations, cooking items, and other necessary objects to keep the legion moving were part of the standard equipment. While this load reduced the soldiers' mobility, it was essential for self-sufficiency during prolonged campaigns in enemy territory. If the Roman soldiers carried 30 to 40 kilograms of equipment without complaining, I think it'll be easy for you to leave a like on this video if you're enjoying it. This will help our community keep growing. Despite the considerable weight the legionaries carried on their long marches, the well-maintained equipment and self-sufficiency during campaigns were only part of what made the Roman legions a formidable force. However, as Rome expanded its borders and faced new challenges, the need to diversify and increase its forces became evident. It was then that the Roman army began to incorporate soldiers from conquered peoples, creating the auxiliary troops, which would play a vital role alongside the legionaries. Unlike regular legionaries, who were Roman citizens, auxiliaries came from various regions of the empire, bringing with them specific combat skills, such as archers from Syria, cavalry from Gaul, or spearmen from Germania. These troops played an essential role in Roman campaigns, complementing the legions with their specialized tactics and combat skills that the legionaries, with their standard training, did not master. The use of these forces allowed Rome not only to increase its military contingent, but also to adapt to different terrains and styles of warfare that varied according to the region in which they were fighting. Service as an auxiliary soldier not only offered the opportunity to join the ranks of one of the most formidable powers of the time, it also came with the promise of an extremely coveted prize: Roman citizenship. For many warriors from subjugated tribes or cities, earning citizenship was more than a title. It meant access to legal, social, and economic benefits that could transform the life of an individual and their family. After years of loyal and distinguished service, auxiliary soldiers could receive citizenship as a reward for their bravery, something that motivated many to enlist and serve with fervor. This concession was strategic for Rome, for by offering citizenship, the empire strengthened its ties with conquered regions and ensured the loyalty of peoples who might otherwise rebel or resist Roman rule. Despite their crucial role in the army, auxiliaries were easily distinguished from Roman legionaries by their clothing and equipment. While legionaries used the familiar rectangular shield, auxiliaries wielded lighter oval shields suited to their specific combat tactics. Their tunics often reflected the diversity of their origins, with colors and styles different from those worn by traditional Roman soldiers. This differentiation not only highlighted the variety of cultures and combat styles within the Roman army, but also symbolized Rome's assimilative power, which knew how to turn this diversity into a strategic advantage. By integrating troops from different parts of the empire, Rome not only increased its military strength but also reinforced the idea that the empire was a multicultural entity, where even conquered peoples could find their place and value. The combination of Roman legions with auxiliary troops made the Roman army extremely flexible and capable of dealing with a wide range of challenges. While legionaries represented the heart and soul of Roman military power, with their unmatched discipline and organization, the auxiliaries brought tactical skills and diversity that complemented and expanded the army's capabilities as a whole. In addition to all the factors I've already pointed out to you, such as physical strength and discipline, the Roman legions were renowned for their meticulous organization and innovative tactical strategies, which set them apart from enemy armies. One of the most symbolic and inspiring elements of the legions was the standard they carried into battle. The golden eagle, or aquila, raised above the troops, was not just a symbol of military power. It represented the very soul of the legion. Losing an eagle in battle was considered the greatest dishonor that could befall a unit, and recovering it became a mission of utmost importance. These standards unified the legions, giving them a point of identity and pride, while also instilling fear in their enemies, who recognized the power the golden eagle symbolized. On the battlefield, the legionaries stood out for their ability to form disciplined and cohesive combat lines, utilizing tactical formations that gave them a decisive advantage. One of the most famous defensive formations was the testudo, or tortoise formation, in which the legionaries locked their shields above and in front, creating an almost impenetrable defense against enemy projectiles such as arrows and spears. This innovation allowed the legions to approach fortified enemy positions with minimal losses, ensuring their efficiency in sieges and assaults in adverse terrain. The testudo, though primarily defensive, exemplified Roman tactical genius, which adapted its strategies to the needs of each battle, ensuring the survival and effectiveness of its soldiers. However, the legion's superiority did not rest solely on defensive formations. They were known for their flexibility in combat, being able to quickly adjust their tactics as the battlefield scenario changed. The Roman legions rarely allowed themselves to be defeated by the enemy's numerical superiority, as they relied on their superior tactics and the ability of their commanders to adapt to circumstances. The Roman army mastered the art of war on multiple fronts, whether in close-quarters combat with the gladius, using the pilum to disarm the enemy from a distance, or in coordinated maneuvers to encircle and destabilize their opponents. This combination of innovation, discipline, and rapid adaptation made the Roman legions unbeatable in countless campaigns, maintaining Rome's dominance over vast territories for centuries. Off the battlefield, a Roman legionary's life was characterized by intense camaraderie, the result of rigorous training and shared experiences, which forged strong bonds essential to cohesion in combat. Each soldier understood the importance of collective responsibility, knowing that mistakes could result in severe punishments, reflecting the strict discipline that permeated the legions. This culture of responsibility and discipline helped maintain order in the legions and ensured that every man was willing to sacrifice himself for the good of the unit. Moreover, the loyalty of the legionaries to their generals was a powerful force, but also a concern for the Roman Senate. Charismatic generals like Julius Caesar not only earned the respect but also the devotion of their soldiers, and this loyalty raised fears that it could result in a military coup. The Senate, aware of the power that a popular general held over his troops, often viewed with suspicion those who excelled in campaigns, fearing that their popularity might threaten the stability of the republic. Over time, the Roman legions, which once symbolized the empire's strength and unity, also became a reflection of the internal tensions that had been accumulating over time. Rivalries between generals, such as Marius and Sulla, culminated in devastating civil wars that not only weakened the military forces but also exposed the fragility of the Roman Republic. During these conflicts, the legions were used as personal instruments of political ambition, with generals employing their troops to conquer not only battles but also political power in Rome. Sulla's victory, for example, set a dangerous precedent, revealing how military leaders could manipulate the army to serve their personal interests, compromising the stability of the republican system. The political consequences of these civil wars were profound and long-lasting, contributing to mistrust and division within Roman society. As tensions mounted, it became evident that the cost of maintaining the legions, coupled with the empire's growing financial difficulties, required significant reforms. The army structure had to be reassessed, leading to a restructuring that altered the effectiveness of the legions. These reforms not only transformed the composition and organization of the troops, but also influenced how military power intertwined with politics, creating a cycle of conflicts that would challenge the foundations of the Republic and eventually pave the way for the rise of the Roman Empire. The transformation of the army, which had once been the bastion of Roman greatness, became a matter of survival in a tumultuous political landscape, where personal loyalties and ambitions often outweighed the interests of the state. Despite this, the legacy of the legions is enduring and remained unshaken in history, leaving behind a legacy that influenced the formation of Western culture and the military organization of later civilizations. The combination of innovative tactics, discipline, and an effective hierarchy became a model for armies over the centuries, establishing norms that still resonate in modern military strategy. And so we come to the end of our journey through the Roman legions, where courage and sacrifice not only built a vast empire, but also symbolized the strength and determination that influenced other civilizations for thousands of years. If you enjoyed what you saw and want to keep exploring the fascinating world of ancient Rome, don't forget to leave a like. This helps us know that you appreciate our content and want more of it here. And while you're here, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you don't miss the next episodes. We'd love to hear your thoughts too. Which aspects of the legions did you find most intriguing? Leave a comment below, and who knows, your question or idea might be featured in the next video. And if you want to dive even deeper into your knowledge of ancient Rome, don't miss the next video, where I'll tell you all about the logistics of a Roman legion on the battlefield. Click on the screen to keep watching. We hope to see you again in our next exploration.